This basement is a complete disaster. We moved into this house about 6 years ago, and ever since then, this room has been a storage room and a podcast studio and a playroom, but it's never been organized, it's never been very useful, and honestly, I'm just kind of over it. And today, that's gonna change. All right, let's talk about this basement for real. Over the years, this has been a dumping ground for us. When we moved in, all of the boxes went here before we started putting them in the right places in the house. When our friends moved, we would store their stuff here. All of my old projects have ended up here. And honestly, because of that, it's just never been a space that we've used very much, definitely not to its full potential. And the fact of the matter is, my kids are getting older and they're not really gonna be in my house that much longer. So rather than keeping this space as just a wasted room, I want to turn this into something that they can use with their friends or with us, just to have a really cool, fun place to hang out. So that's the goal here. When I was growing up, this was my grandparents' house. This was their basement, and there was a pool table right there. I spent tons of time down in this basement playing pool with my cousins and my siblings, and we had a blast. In fact, there's a lot of proof that we had fun because there's holes all over the ceiling and blue chalk everywhere. So the goal, starting today, is to turn this space from a cluttered, unusable mess into something that is a lot of fun that we can enjoy as a family. This is gonna be a lot of work, but let's go over the plan. I think this is gonna happen in like 3 big parts. The first thing is just clearing space. There's way too much stuff in here. We can't just rearrange it to make the space better. A lot of this stuff has to go. Now, some of it will come back in later on, but right now, I've just got to clear the space out. The second part is, I don't know, like infrastructure, I guess is what you would call it. We need to fix the space. We've got exposed ducting that needs to be hidden or cleaned up. We've got lots of wall space that we can paint some interesting murals or colors, and lighting is the biggest thing. We've got one ceiling light in here, and it's changing colors and doesn't light the space well, so we're gonna completely redo the lighting by adding recessed all over the place, a light fixture, LED strips around the corners. It's gonna be definitely well lit. And then the third big movement, I guess, in this series is gonna be putting everything back, building some new furniture, designing how the space looks and what goes in it to make sure that it's fun, it's useful, and it is not cluttered. So step 1, we gotta clear the space out. Unfortunately, I don't have another big space that I could just move everything into all at once. So I'm gonna be pulling some stuff out and getting rid of it, covering some stuff to keep it safe. Things are just gonna get moved around and be very messy for a while, but I have to decide what's staying, what's going, and what's gonna come back later. Then after that, we can start on lighting. It's not completely clean in here, but it's way better than it was, and that doesn't really matter. What matters is moving on to what's gonna be the biggest part of this preparation, and that's lighting. And you might be looking at the room thinking, well, I mean, the light's not that bad. Well, that's because I have 2 windows open. I have a temporary light up there and a video light over there. Otherwise, it would look like this, which is not enough light to do much of anything. So we're gonna fix it with recessed lighting. Now, if you're building something new and you wanna add recessed lighting, it's super easy to do. You've got all the access, you run the wires and drill some holes and mount the lights, and then you cover it all up with drywall. But if you already live in a house where you don't have access, it can be a little bit more difficult, but it's absolutely doable. So let me tell you what we're gonna do, and then we'll talk about how we're actually gonna do it. We've got power coming in right here in the middle of the room already, and it's switched on the wall. And so we're gonna tie into this and then have it feed some recessed lights. One's gonna go right here in the middle, and then one on each side of it. And then we've got 2 further back, further out, and then 2 more further back. So we're gonna have 7 recessed lights in this area. It's gonna be very bright, but they are dimmable, so we can actually control how much light they put into the room. Then we're also gonna add some sort of a light here. I'm not exactly sure what that is yet. It could be another recessed light, but this is where we're gonna get our power. I'm gonna be using canless lights for these. Instead of having a big can in the ceiling, it's just a flat little LED puck. They've got springs on them, so you just kind of pop them up into a hole and they hold themselves in place. That's connected to a little box that has the driver and it has all the wiring connections that you need in it. You can run the wire through one of these holes, attach it on the inside, and you're good to go. Also wanted to point out, you can get all different color temperatures of these lights. I actually got one that's variable, so it's got a little switch on the box, so you can make it whatever temperature you want. Now to test this out, I just plugged up a little lamp cord so that I can plug it into the wall and see how bright it is. And I mean, that's pretty bright, you know? It's gonna be on the ceiling, but it's nice and bright. What can make this really difficult to do is the fact that the joists in your ceiling run at least one direction. In my room, they run this way. So if I've got this wire coming out of the ceiling right here and I want it to run across the room, I have to drill holes through and then run wire through at least 3 joists. And of course, all that is happening above the drywall, so I can't really see what I'm doing. Now, before we talk about how I'm gonna go about getting a wire from there to there, I gotta give you a little bit of a disclaimer. I'm not a licensed electrician, but I've done a lot of this type of work. The thing that you always need to make sure you do is turn off the power anywhere near the stuff that you're working on, and you always wanna check the individual wires to make sure that they're dead. But other than the electrical side of things, if you're gonna be drilling holes in your ceiling through joists into places that you cannot see, you need to make sure you have a really good grasp on where all of the plumbing, electrical, gas, everything is in your home. For example, I renovated our kitchen and it's right above this space. So I know exactly where all of the plumbing, all of the gas, everything is up there, and so it translates to where it is down here. That yellow pipe right there is our gas line. All of the plumbing is on the opposite side of that pipe. So I'm good to work in the ceiling over here. On that side of the room, I'm gonna have to be a lot more careful. Getting electrocuted is bad. Drilling a hole through a water pipe or a drain pipe is bad. Doing something, pretty much anything with a gas line is bad. Please be careful. Now, let's talk about this thing. This is a 55-inch auger bit made specifically for this purpose. This is what electricians use to be able to drill through a long run across several pieces of wood so that you can have a hole that you can then pass wire through. So this is what I'm gonna be using to drill the holes, but then I'm also gonna be using the other end of it to pull a line through that I can then use to pull wire through. But before we get to any of that, we need to drill some holes for the lights. To drill the holes for these lights, I'm gonna use a big hole saw. This matches the diameter of the light, but if you've ever used one of these, you know that they make a huge mess in drywall. Flings it everywhere. Luckily for us, my dog hates basketballs. She kills every basketball or soccer ball that she can get her teeth into. Well, this one's already dead, so I can cut it in half to make a dust shroud. This is something I saw my friend April Wilkerson do one time, and it's a genius idea if you've got a dead ball. I mean, come to think of it, it makes 2 dust shrouds. Let's drill a hole. Actually, you know, before we drill the hole, we didn't talk about laying these things out, and this is a pretty good example of why that's important. The joist is right here, and I wanted my hole to be centered right about there, which means they overlap. Now, you don't want to be drilling into the bottom of a joist. It's probably not a huge deal, but you really don't need to. But luckily, these lights that I got are actually thinner than the drywall. So as long as I place it correctly, I can drill through the drywall and put the joist right across this back section, and it should fit just fine. But it's really important that you just plan where the lights are gonna go. Make sure that you know how they're gonna interact with the joist or with the space or with the air ducts that are up there. And also, there's a ton of opinion about how far away from the wall they need to be or how close the lights are together, and that has a lot to do with the size of the light and the height of the ceiling. There's tons of opinions. Mine are 24 inches from the wall and about 42 inches apart. Okay, let's drill some holes. That was awesome. Very little dust came out, but look how well that worked. Thanks, Nike. Those were in the same bay, so that was really easy. You just feed it in one hole, out the other. And we'll have the same thing on the opposite side, but the rest of the holes, we're gonna have to get out the big drill bit. Now, to be honest, the angles are the hard part here. If you've got a 54-inch long drill bit that needs to start right here, that means you're holding the drill way back here, and you've got to get the angle right so that when you go in, you don't come out in the floor above you. You have to get the angle this way so that you come out right over the hole that you've made, but also you don't want to go too high. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with a smaller bit. Because I'm working so close to this joist right here, since it's exposed, I can use a wider bit up close and drill the hole right here, and that gives me kind of a starter point for the big long drill bit to go through. That did make a mess. Now for this one, I'm trying to keep the angle as low as possible so that by the time I get over to that other hole, I'm not poking through the ceiling above. Oh, I went one further than I needed to. It's right there. So now we've got the drill bit that's going through 2 joists and coming out this hole. And a lot of people will take a fish tape and attach it to the end of the bit, pull the fish tape back through, and then pull the fish tape back through with the wire. I'm just gonna tape a wire to the end of the drill bit and see if I can get it to pull back through. was actually easier than I thought it was gonna be. Now, a fish tape would absolutely help with that and make it even easier, but that was pretty simple. The next one's a little bit strange in that it's going at a diagonal. That's not a really big deal, except that I've got a wall right there and a wall right here, so I don't have enough room to use my long drill bit. So, I think I'm gonna go in just parallel with this one and try to cross into the right bay and then reach in through the hole and pull the wire kind of at a 90-degree angle. Probably won't work, but we're gonna give it a shot. Now, the reason I don't think that's gonna work is because I never saw the other end of the bit. I was never able to attach something to pull back through. Theoretically, I have straight holes that I might be able to get something to go through, and if I can get it through, then maybe I can grab it from the other side. We'll find out. All right, not super easy, not super hard either. Now I just gotta do all that on the other side. I've got all of the wire pulled through all of the holes, and so I'm ready to hook the lights up. But I wanted to point something out. Earlier I used some tape to fish one of the wires through, just to prove that I could do it. But these bits are actually made to do it easier. Most of these bits have a little hole in both ends of the bit so that you can run a wire through there, twist it up, and then pull that wire back through using the bit. The tape works just fine, but this is actually made for that purpose. So now that I've got all of the wires run, I've got to strip the ends, attach the boxes, and then we can actually try the lights out. When you get lights like this, they have a box that has everything you need, and inside that box, you've got little punch outs. And so you can punch a hole through the side of the box, feed the wire in, and then connect it on the inside. But you wanna make sure that that wire doesn't get pulled back through, which means you also need to get these things. They're like little clamps that you put in that hole, and then you clamp them around the wire to stop it from pulling out. That's really all you have to do. You hook it up inside the box, close the box, and then stick this up in the ceiling. You're good to go. All of the lights are installed, and it was really super easy to do. The only one I haven't done is that one right there, because I need to run a wire to that right there, which is the main switched power. But I can't do that yet because I need to put a box in that place. Luckily, I think I found a really simple solution. This is a remodel box to put in a ceiling. And the cool thing about this one is that it comes with its own hole saw. I guess you could actually just drill the entire thing up in there, but the hole saw part does come off. You can use this to make the hole and then pull the wires through, put them in the box, and you're good to go. I just happen to have the same size hole saw, so I'm gonna use this instead, but I think this would work pretty well. I was trying to make sure that the center drill bit was actually on drywall, so it did the hole correctly, and I moved it over a little bit. Well, it turns out I moved it over enough to hit the joist. So this new box won't go through the hole. Luckily, we can just trim it out a little bit with a drywall knife, move it over about 1/2 inch. It'll be fine. Yeah, that totally works, and you actually can't even see it. Cool. Okay, moment of truth. Everything is hooked up, all the lights are in place, and I want to see how much of a difference it makes. I don't have any idea if the camera's picking up how much different that is, but that's awesome. We've lived here for about 6 years, and for the first time in 6 years, this is the lighting in the room. There's no extra video lights, we have no lamps, we have no supplemental lighting. This is it, and it looks awesome. Now, of course, I've got to do this exact same thing on that side of the basement because now it's super dark over there. But once I get all the lighting in place, then I can actually start working on making it look better and start to really transform the space into something that my kids will love. For a long time now, I've been wanting to do kind of a mural, basically just big, thick stripes that run down a hallway or along a wall, and this is gonna be perfect for that. Plus, they can bend and go up the stairwell all the way to the top. We mocked the whole thing up in Photoshop, and I'm not gonna show you that mock-up because then you'll know exactly what it's gonna look like, but it was really helpful for me because it let me measure on screen how tall each one of the stripes were and where they go in relation to the door frame and stuff like that. So, we're gonna use a laser level and some tape, lay out some stripes, and get this thing painted. This video is sponsored by KiwiCo, which is awesome because KiwiCo's awesome. We've been getting crates from KiwiCo for a really long time, like since my kids were really little, but they're not little anymore, they're teenagers. Back then we got Kiwi crates and Doodle crates, and these days we get Tinker crates. This one you make a walking robot. And for my teenagers, we get Eureka crates. This one you make a pinball machine, and this one you make a wooden ukulele. And what's really awesome about these crates is that you have everything you need in the box. All the supplies, you don't need any extra tools or stuff. There's a full set of instructions in there, as well as a magazine with a bunch of other information around whatever the topic of the crate is. These are legitimately a fantastic way for you to invest in a kid in your life, or honestly even in yourself. It's really fun to be able to make something and learn about it at the same time, and you've got everything you need in the crate. If you want to find out more about all the different lines they have and different topics they have, you can hit the link down in the description to go over to the website and see what's available. And while you're over there, if you want to check it out, use the code MAKESTUFF, and that's going to give you 50% off your first month. I legitimately tell people pretty often how awesome the crates are from KiwiCo. It's good stuff, it's a cool company. Be sure to go check it out. Hit the link down below. Big thanks to KiwiCo for sponsoring this video. The stripes are finished and they look awesome. And that means that the first part of the basement renovation is finished. Check it out. Honestly, adding the recessed lighting was a bigger change than I could have imagined for our family. It's so well lit now that we actually want to spend time down here for the first time in like 6 years. And we have been. We've actually played more ping pong in the last couple of weeks than we have ever. Of course, this basement is not finished. We've got a ton of stuff left to do. I have several things that I need to find homes for. We don't have a way to watch movies down here yet, and the ping pong table is still gigantic for the space. But luckily, I've got an idea that will let us have a full-size ping pong table, but also make it smaller. You're not gonna wanna miss that or the rest of this renovation, so hit subscribe down below. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Now it's time for bloopers. To a place that's fun, relaxing, and April Wilkinson's. April Wilkinson's. Dust shroud. Oh, battery. And then go up the stairwell to the door. Let's start over.